Age gap dating, whether it's between hetero or homosexual couples, brings with it some interesting dynamics and cultural curiosity. In today's episode, we will talk about our thoughts on the topic and the more common phenomenon of older women dating younger men. What's a good dating age range? When does it get difficult or icky? How to face judgment from others, and finding what works for you. Stick around as we discuss this topic.
Welcome to Tell Me More and Then Some.
I'm Alina.
And I'm Angeline.
Join us as we dive deep into the topics that fuel our conscious evolution and keep us learning as students of life.
We invite you to come along and share the ride. We hope you're empowered to learn and grow into the best and most authentic version of yourself. We're so happy you're here. Let's go.
Studies show that in about 8% of heterosexual couples, the man is older by at least 10 years. And in 2%, the woman is older. In same-sex couples, the age gap is more prevalent and sits at around 25%.
Before we get further into this exciting topic, if you enjoy the show, we'd like to ask you to please follow, rate, and review wherever you're listening right now. If you're listening on Apple, go to the show on the app, scroll to the bottom, and rate the show 5 stars and leave a review. And if you listen on Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating. This really helps our show gain more listeners so that we can continue to pour our passion into bringing you these episodes.
So as our listeners know, we like to discuss topics that we're passionate about and that come up for us as we're living our lives. And so one of the things that has been coming up for, I guess, me more frequently than Angeline, is age gap dating and age gap relationships. And so, I remember years ago seeing someone like Demi Moore when I think she got married to Ashton Kutcher, and there was like a 15-year age gap between them. And everybody was like, oh, that's such a huge age gap, this, that, and the other. But then you have someone like Leonardo DiCaprio dating women who are not over the age of 25.
Right.
Even as he's getting older and older, it's like, that's icky.
Yeah.
But I don't know that people are as judgmental. And so just wanted to talk about the age gap in dating. Yeah. I guess we could start with talking about heterosexual relationships. And I know for me, when I was in my 20s, I certainly dated men who were older. And I remember one of my first relationships, I was 21 and he was 31. Mm-hmm. And, he was at that age where he wanted to be in a relationship. He wanted to get married. He wanted to have a family. I still hadn't had sex. I mean, yeah. I knew nothing, yeah. And I certainly didn't want to be married. And so I think for me, when I think of someone in their 20s, it's difficult to think about them dating someone who's significantly older. Mm-hmm. Whereas, if you're 31 versus 31 and the person's 41, that to me that's different. Like, yeah. That seems a bit more tangible. Like, okay, that makes sense, yeah. Because you're in a different decade of your life. What do you think about same-sex relationships and the age gap? Or not same-sex, opposite sex relationships.
Like heterosexual.
Sorry, heterosexual.
No, it's okay. I was like, we're jumping topics quick here. That is all for that. Well, it's interesting. What you just said about, 21 and 31 is very different from 31 and 41.
Yeah.
And there's so many reasons here. Also, I just want to point out, obviously we're generalizing here. Every circumstance is different, right? Mm-hmm. There could be a 21-year-old that established and ready to go and is fine dating somebody 10 years older or 15 years older. It really is individual. But I don't know. It's interesting. As you were talking about Demi Moore, I'm even thinking about movies and shows that are coming out. There's that one movie with Anne Hathaway, not that recently, but she was dating that kid.
Yeah.
Right. And I just love how it's becoming more and more culturally appropriate or just shown in movies and shows and media. And I don't know, for me personally, I've always been drawn to younger men. We don't have to get into the psychology of why, but either I dated in my 20s, I either dated them my age or just a few years younger. But even my husband, Andrew's 6 years younger than me. And I feel like initially I would get comments like, oh, 6 years younger. Even now, actually, it'll be like, oh, good for you. As if I don't know why
Like you're a cougar and you're
Yeah.
not, because 6 years is not that significant.
It's not, but again, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, right? Because the age gap, what do we define as age gap when we say like age gap relation with these studies?
Yeah, it's 10 years or more.
10 years. Okay.
10 years or more. Yeah, because I think, like even when we talk about like millennials versus Gen X versus Gen Z, like I can understand why anything within 10 years is reasonable because you're kind of in the same ballpark of what you want to do, where you want to be in your life, where you might be in your career,
Right.
wanting to have a family.
Potentially, right?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody wants different things.
Yes.
But I do remember I was in my 30s and I met someone, I think he was like 24. And so we were within 10 years apart. I was within 10 years old. Like I was like 9 years older, I think. And I just remember thinking, oh, I made my own assumptions. Like he's going to want to be married. He's going to want to have a family. He's going to want to do all these things. And so this is not the right person to date because of that age gap without even having that conversation.
I was gonna say, rather than having a conversation.
Like I didn't even go there.
Yeah.
Whereas, as I got into my 30s, you have those conversations and you don't make those assumptions and you do what's best for you.
Yes.
I do think that anything over 10 years gets a little tricky, but again, to your point earlier, like 21 to 31 is very different than 31 to 41.
Right.
And let's say in the example of a 20-year age gap, let's say the guy is 25 and the woman is 50.
Oh, we're going 25-year age gap.
That to me, well, yeah, because that exists.
Great.
Like that to me is this is going to sound really judgmental.
It's okay.
It's predatory. Like and even the word cougar, like when you think of a woman, like a cougar is a predator.
That's true.
Right?
It's so horrible,
Why
man.
are women called predators? Do we have a male equivalent?
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do. So
Creep.
if you're a man who's 25 years older than a woman,
wow.
what are you? Just an older man?
Right.
But if you're an older woman, you're a cougar, you're a predator. And so
yeah,
I would argue that regardless of gender, there is something predatory about that when you are that young. Now, let's say you're 45 and then
they're 70.
Yeah. Is that still as predatory?
It's not predatory, but I think there's a whole other host of challenges that could come in the way.
Yeah.
Right. I think with the 25 and 50, there is a power dynamic, whether you're a woman or a man that's older, you are in a very different place in life and is way more established than someone in their mid 20s trying to figure it out. That I think there could be some potentially toxic characteristics of that kind of relationship. And then what was it? 45 to 70?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. Like what? WTF.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just again, everybody does what's best for them, but there's so many different things at play, right? There's maturity, because you could be a 28-year-old who's super mature.
yes.
And you have your shit together. You've got a great career. Maybe you own a business. And you're interested in an older woman, for example.
Absolutely.
Or, vice versa. You're a woman who's got it. You have got your shit together. You're 28 and you want to be with a mature man who has his shit together and he's 48.
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to what we were just saying about conversations,
Mm-hmm.
having those conversations.
100%.
Even with Andrew, 6 years, I did have a conversation about you might become a dad earlier than you expected. So what
Mm-hmm.
did you expect, right? Are you okay with this? Because 6 years can still be significant in someone's desires of like for their life plan.
Yeah.
But those conversations are key in terms of determining if it's a good fit.
Yeah. And also, like, if career is something that's important to you, setting those expectations early on, in that you wouldn't expect Andrew perhaps to be in the same place that you are in your career because
Right.
of the age gap.
Correct.
Like, do you find yourself thinking about that?
I didn't. Actually,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It was not even a thought when we first started dating. And then, you know, it was a conversation that came up multiple times in the beginning stages of when we moved in together. And there was a point where Andrew said something to me, like, you have to remember, I'm 6 years behind you in terms of career. And it did click, but it wasn't something that I thought of initially, which is a learning for me. You know, like, I can't expect him to, I mean, again, very different circumstances, but like, he's not going to be making 6 times more than what I make, you know, when he's earlier on in his career journey.
Right.
So that's absolutely a factor I think that's important for people to talk about.
Yeah, I recently met someone who's 20 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm happy you're bringing this up.
And I was like, no way. I'm not doing this. Not interested. Mm-mm. And you and my dear friend, my best friend, Dora, was like, girl, just have fun.
Yeah.
Like, just have fun.
Uh-huh.
And so we hung out a couple of times, and he's a sweetheart. But it's just not for me. And it's not to say that he's not mature and established and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't even want to have those conversations around. This is just me.
Yeah.
In my mind, there was something, I don't want to say predatory, but I couldn't help but want to just be nurturing and like teach him.
Right.
You know?
Like because he could be your child.
Girl.
That's not fun.
And I'm like, this is not a project.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in teaching someone, in, you know, helping someone grow. Like, that's not my job.
Totally.
I'm not interested in that. And so I think that some of the questions, if you do find yourself interested in that kind of relationship where there's a big age gap, I do think it's really important that you're on the same page. Because, like, while he said to me that he's interested in older women, and when I probed for why, some of the things that, you know, we talked about, like confidence was one, less drama. I think these are the things you hear from younger men who are interested in older women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just more confident. There's none of that childish drama that they experience with younger women. And from my perspective, though, I just wasn't interested in having those conversations around, well, where do we go from here? So I don't know. What do you think?
It's just, as you're talking, it's interesting to me because I think it's great that we're having these kinds of conversations and we're being more mindful and conscious of, you know, age gaps, decisions that we make in mates and partners. I just sometimes also want to just say, like, maybe we think about it too much. There's a part of me that's just like, you go in and you make it work. Like, this is good information to have, but it's almost like friendship, right? Like, there's age gap friendships too. You and I, 10 years, right?
Yeah. But that's reasonable. 10 years is reason. I feel like 10 years is the cutoff.
But even for friendship?
Because you can still relate. Like, even for friendship, I would say 15 years. Like, when I think of my own friendships, I love having friends from different decades.
Yeah.
Because I think we all have something to teach one another.
Yes.
But outside of 15 years younger or older, I don't have close decades of your life that
That's fair.
It's just,
That's
do
fair.
you have friendships that are more?
I have a 20-year colleague that's 20 years older than me. And I mean, we're not close friends though, but we
Right.
do hang out and have great conversations.
Sure.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think I just want to, I guess, encourage people that like, while we talk about all this stuff, and let's say you do as a woman and that's 45, meet someone that's 27 or whatever, and you have a great connection, explore it.
Yeah.
You know, like have these things in mind. But I just think relationships are so complex and dynamic, and we're not robots or scientific formulas, you know, like, so I don't know, you could be surprised. I don't know what the data is on like successful relationships with age gaps of that are that big.
Yeah.
But
Well said.
yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea of being open.
Yes.
Just be open to getting to know that person or the possibility of being with that person.
yeah.
And if your goals are aligned, then why the heck not?
Exactly.
If your goals are aligned, that to me is more important than the age.
Absolutely.
You know, and so like I would say it's not the age, it's the goals that are more important. What are your goals?
Yeah.
What are you looking
Values.
to? Right. What are
Yes.
you looking for in a relationship? And that should outweigh the age.
Yes.
And I think as you're figuring out what's valuable to you and what's important to you, if one of the questions is, do you want to have children?
Mm-hmm.
And one says yes and one says no, because I'm much older or a different phase in my life,
Right.
then that answers your question
Absolutely.
of whether to proceed or not. But also, okay, I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay.
I guess when people are like, age is just a number, it's not. It's not a number, because that number says a lot about who you are and where you are in your life.
Okay.
And so I think it just connects back to what I'm saying around your goals
Mm-hmm.
and what you're looking for in a relationship outweigh anything else, including your age.
That's right.
However, age is important. We can't just go around the world saying, oh, age is just a number.
Of course not. I mean, right. Even especially with women, right? Biological clock is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I always want to be a devil's advocate here.
No, that's great. I
Yeah,
want you
but
to
just
be.
like age is just a number, sure. However, there could be a man that you meet that is 48 years old that might as well have been 25 with a level of maturity, establishment in his
Sure.
life, whatever it is,
Absolutely.
level of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we say age is a number, I have met men that are in their 20s that are more mature than men in their late 30s or 40s.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Like
Yes.
maybe in that sense,
Mhm.
age is just a number.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say for you, right? If I didn't know your age and I'm hanging out with you and then hanging out with somebody else, one of my other friends, in terms of your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
you have a very youthful spirit, right? And that's why anytime I tell anyone how old you are, no, you're just lying. What do you mean? Like she's younger than you, or whatever it is, which is
Sure.
great, not just because of the way you look.
Mm.
So I think in terms of your spirit, age can be just a number.
Mm-hmm.
Your maturity level, age can be just a number.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, physically, I think you cannot. Obviously, you can't say that.
Yeah.
Shit starts breaking down.
Yes. And well said. And energy and like health, physical health are really
Yeah.
important, because you can be a 45-year-old who's just tired at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You're just like, I just want to sit on this couch.
Yes.
I don't want to do anything. And you've got your 30-year-old going, let's go out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right. So
Yeah.
energy is really important.
That's a great
and
point.
then even as you get older into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and you have a younger partner, male or female, is your energy level the same? Is
Right.
what's important to you the same? Like one of you's retired, and so you just want to relax and maybe
Ooh.
travel, while the other is still working and they've got a booming career and
Right.
their focus is different. Chronic illness, like that's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, one of you wants to be out and about.
Fair. Which again can also happen without age gaps, but that is probably more prevalent in age gap relationships. Yeah.
Where does social pressure and I guess like family pressure and just stigma around like just societal judgment?
I can't lie and say I don't care. I don't know if you do. I mean, it's not I care enough, I think, for it to prevent me from doing anything, but it's interesting. Like I think maybe even to this day, sometimes depending on who I'm interacting with, it's almost like this little piece of, is it shame? It's almost like, oh yeah, my husband's younger than me. Like, you know, I don't know when it comes up. I think for me, I guess I'll get personal, but like for me, I wonder what others are thinking. These are people that I don't care about, mind you. But I still wonder what they're thinking in terms of, why am I dating someone that's younger? Like, could I just not cut it with someone that I'm quote unquote supposed to, like the age level that I'm supposed to be with? Is she not mature enough? Is it this? Is it that? I do have those thoughts sometimes. And I think there's also this like underlying anxiety that I have, that people look at me and think like, well, I hope she can give him babies, you know, like especially knowing my age. I think that also kind of feels shitty. And again, I'm making all this up. No one has said anything to me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So,
because looking at the two of you, I mean, you have such a youthful look.
Why, thank you.
One would never know. But, I mean, what is the ideal, or what is that gap? Not gap. What should the cutoff be, do you think?
For women dating younger men? Or either?
Both. Or heterosexual, in any relationship. Hetero, homo, male, female.
And when you say should, let's just maybe, let's say like, what is societal like expectation?
So like, have you heard of this half your age? What is it called? It's like I forget what it's called, but it's like half your age plus 7 rule.
What?
Yeah. So
what is it?
I think it's called half your age plus 7 rule.
Okay.
And I feel like it's something that maybe our grandparents would say to us when thinking about whether an age difference is socially acceptable. And it holds that a person should never date someone whose age is less than half of their own plus 7 years.
Oh my God. Okay. So wait. Okay. So then
if you're 38, half of that
is 19.
Yep. Plus 7.
Oh, plus 7.
Plus 7
is 26.
So yeah. So if you're a 38-year-old male or female, the youngest you should date is 26.
I highly doubt our grandparents are going to say female, but yes. Oh, that's fascinating. Oh, interesting.
I know.
Okay. So wait, what is 26 from me? It's 12-year difference. So that is a real age gap that they say is acceptable. Again, I guarantee you this was men when they were thinking about men.
Probably.
So a 38-year-old man should not date a woman that's younger than 26.
Yep.
I wonder where that came from. I've never heard that before.
Beats the heck out of me. But yeah. So according to the research, it's more prevalent in homosexual relationships, the age gap. I've certainly seen it with my own friends and friends of friends. And part of that I think is, I guess it depends on if you're a gay couple or lesbian couple. I think part of it is maybe children, but I also have, gay friends who have children.
Right.
And that's something to consider. Or age is something to consider, but one is 70 and the other is 45 or 50.
Right. Right. I wonder if there's data on that, like longevity of these relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
So interesting.
Is like, how long because that's where my brain automatically goes is,
it's smart.
okay, you guys both look hot right
Yeah.
now. You're 30, he's 50. Let's just say like she's 30, he's 55.
Yeah.
You guys both look great. Well, what happens in 10 years, 20 years time?
Right.
When interests are different, looks are different, health is different.
Physical endurance is
Everything.
different. Everything. Yeah. Yeah. That would be really interesting. I guess I also just like wonder, I don't know if there's an increasing number of older women that are dating younger men, but I wonder what like the underlying cause of that could be.
Girl, I have a theory.
Tell me.
It's funny because I saw something on social media, and I think he's a comedian or something, and he was talking about taller men and how obviously, taller men are desirable.
Yeah.
And they're desired by short women or tall women, right?
Right.
It's an evolutionary thing. Like they're more,
like they could protect you.
well, no, when you also think of your offspring, right? Like the taller your offspring,
Okay.
the longer they'll live and the more they'll procreate. Like there's a Darwinian
All right.
reasoning for all this. But he says something like, well, with the tall men, they typically like the short women. And so they're dating all these short women. And so now you've got all these tall women, and then you've got the short men, and the short men are now dating the tall women or want to date the tall women because the tall men have taken all of the short women, right?
I can't.
He was so funny. He's like, so then where does that leave the short men? Because the
What's
tall
left?
women don't want to date them.
Yeah.
And the tall men have taken all the short women. But anyway, I was thinking about that and how it relates to age. And so if more and more older men are dating more and more younger women, where does that leave the younger men and the older women?
We're all that's left.
And I don't want to say that it's all that's left because it's a small percentage.
Of course.
But I can see that level of attraction, I guess, because let's just say hypothetically, you're a 26-year-old male and you're really mature. You've got it together. And all of the women that are in your age bracket that are also mature are dating up. So now you're left with all these immature young women. So you're like, well, shit. Let me bump up the age by 5 to 10 years, maybe even more.
I could see that.
And see what I find.
I could also see women being more open to younger men. Well, I'm sure this is a factor, right? Is us having careers and being more successful. And I mean, back to one of our previous episodes around like, we don't need to be provided for as much, as often as in the past.
Yeah.
So why not have a fun, fucking hot, young buck to have fun with?
Well, and sexually, that makes sense, right? Because like women in their 40s are in their sexual peak.
Exactly.
And so are men in their 20s. So it makes sense.
Girl.
Right?
We just solved it.
Okay.
That's what it is. This makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we don't need to be provided for as much. So yeah, it's.
What would be interesting is to look at data around all of the different factors. So like you're a woman in your 20s and you're dating a male or married to someone in their 50s. What is the level of success and wealth? What are those dynamics?
Yeah.
Looking at the difference in success, wealth, health, looks. Because I feel like it's always it's kind of transactional, right? Like an older man or older woman exchanges wealth for youth and looks.
Oh, right.
And then the youthful person, obviously,
Yeah.
it's an exchange for wealth and stability and security.
Yes.
I wonder what the percentage of sort of that equal in all of those aspects.
Right.
So like you're both good looking, you're both wealthy, you're both healthy.
Yeah.
You want the same things, but you're compatible.
Yeah.
And so you've got this 25-year age gap, but everything else is
pretty
equal.
Like equal. Yeah. And what the success rate
I
of
don't
that
see
is.
that very often. Do you?
I don't think so. No. Yeah, especially with that big of an age gap.
Yeah, I feel like there's always that power dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, even in gay couples, like let's say they're both good looking,
Right.
but one is wealthier than the other.
Right.
One can provide more stability than the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that would be fascinating to know if that even, I don't know. I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
If you do, let us know, man. I'm so interested in people's opinions on this or even experiences with age gap relationships.
Yeah, there's some couples on social media that I see, but again, in my mind I'm like, "Oh, well, you're wealthy. He's not. He's young. You're not as young." Okay, so this is an exchange.
It makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
But the longevity is
That's big.
yeah.
Yeah. This is a I just we're gonna say the same thing, and
It's fun.
it's just a fun conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's important is to have those conversations early on about what you want. If the two of you are looking to have fun and, you know, enjoy each other's company, then hey,
More power to you.
More power to you.
Yes.
Do live your best life.
Absolutely.
If there's something specific that you're looking for, then have those conversations and make sure that that person can give you what it is that you need and vice versa. And the hell with what people say.
Absolutely.
People will judge.
Absolutely.
And I think, again, as long as you're aligned in your relationship, then you can have those conversations when the judgments do come, especially from like family and friends.
Yes.
So
I love it.
thanks for having this conversation with me.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed it. So at the end of each episode, we love to ask one another and encourage you to ask yourself, what is bringing you joy lately? Alina, do you want to go first?
Well, it was a crazy work week, and can I share this with the listeners about your promotion?
Oh,
Or
sure.
Okay.
Aw.
So Angeline is now a director. I'm just so proud.
You're so cute.
So I feel like the word transformative is like it's a word that keeps coming up for me this year. It's like a transformative year for so many people in my life. And I mean it when I say, like, when I'm going through a difficult time, one of the best ways for me to get through it is to see and have the people that I love thriving and doing well. Like, it was a hard week, but just seeing you accomplish what you accomplished. And then also my other dear friend, he also got a promotion. I'm just so proud of the two of you. Like, you guys worked really hard to get to this point in your careers. And I just honestly, like, I kept smiling this week because I was like, I'm just so proud and so happy. And I know you're proud of yourself. So that's what's bringing me joy lately.
This is so sweet. And obviously, like, how lucky are we, me and your other friend, to have someone like you in our lives that can really, like, celebrate us with our wins. Like,
hell yeah,
you genuinely celebrate our wins. And I couldn't have done any of it without you. Like, the amount of support that you've provided.
Girl, you did it all without me. But
she's a gem. And I don't know what I did in my past life to deserve this, but I love you and I appreciate everything. And, you know,
I love you.
You can't do things. We can never do anything alone. So
you're a badass. You're such a badass.
And you're a badass too.
And I'm just, I'm so excited for this next chapter for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, girl.
Thank you, Alina.
What's bringing you joy lately?
Well, that just brought me so much joy. But I was going to say, actually, in the spirit of this conversation, my husband, I don't know if I've ever actually shouted him out as bringing me joy.
Aww.
We went out to dinner last night with my family to a Persian restaurant, and my husband is full of humor. And
He's hilarious.
the table was just cracking up. And there were moments where I literally just paused and I was like, just be present in this. Like, just look at this, and take it all in. And I just feel so much joy just knowing that I'm married to this person and the amount of smiling and happiness and joy he brings to even my favorite people. So he just brings me joy and is a gem. And I love you, Andrew.
We all love Andrew.
Yes, we do.
He's pretty great.
He is.
If you've enjoyed this episode and you like the show in general, please share this episode or any episode you've enjoyed with someone you know. It goes a long way, and we appreciate all of the love and the support. With that, that's all we've got for you today. See you next time on Tell Me More and Then Some.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review to help us reach more listeners.
To learn more, make sure to follow us on all the socials at More and Then Some Pod.
Join us for new episodes every Wednesday on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Until next time, stay curious, learn more, and talk about it.